this. Hi, I'm Jen Brown with One Hope, and I'm joined by Scott Weiss from Ocean Accelerator. Scott is an incredible marketplace leader who has served for 22 years in various C-suite positions at multiple Fortune 500 companies, and he is a member of Crossroads Church in Cincinnati. And we are so excited to have a conversation about faith and entrepreneurship as we get ready for this upcoming roundtable. Scott, thank you so much for joining.
Thanks, Jen. I'm so honored to be a part of this. Thank you.
Yeah, so what do you say? Let's jump right in.
Perfect.
Scott, do you mind just taking a few sentences and sharing about who you are and your role with Ocean as we get started?
So Ocean's a 6-year-old independent nonprofit, and I was blessed to be called to be the founding CEO. I stepped into that role after I sold the last company that I was running. So I've been at Ocean from the beginning, and more recently have turned over operational leadership and am now a very active chairman focused on our mission and expansion.
That's incredible. Well, thank you so much for joining. Question number one, as we contemplate ways for churches to foster, launch, and or partner with programs such as Ocean, what lessons can you share with us on the relationship between Oceans and Crossroads Church? What's worked in the past? What are some of the tensions maybe, or maybe what hasn't worked?
It's a great question, and I'm just going to give 30 seconds of background. Ocean was created when the senior pastor of Crossroads Church was walking through the atrium and saw a bunch of young people pounding on laptops every day. And he challenged them as to why they were there, why, quote, they didn't have a job. And he found out there were 10 different companies using his atrium because it provided free coffee and free Wi-Fi to start businesses. He began discipling them and then challenged them to serve the community, and that's when Ocean was born. So it was never a part of the church, but it was born directly out of the DNA of a Bible-based church seeking to be the hands and feet of Christ in the community. Because we share similar DNA, the working relationship's been exceptional. What we ask of Crossroads consistently is use of their facilities, particularly for our large events, and they have great broadcasting capability, and access to their marketing resources to reach the broadest possible number of people. What we provide in return are high-quality volunteer opportunities for their members and opportunities for people to participate in our training programs to be able to launch a business. You know, the tension that emerges is always exactly when we want some publicity, they have a great program going on somewhere else. So we've learned, get in front of this, get in front of this, get in front of this, work way out in front and meet constantly. I have coffee with the senior pastor and executive pastor frequently, just so that we know each other and that the relational character stays high.
That's incredible. So can you speak to how Ocean is bridging the divide of secular and sacred and equipping entrepreneurs?
So to answer that question, I need to talk a little bit about the entrepreneurial journey. It is a consistent journey, whether one is a believer or not. So somebody steps in and says, I'm going to launch a business, and immediately they are overwhelmed. They launch that business because of a passion to solve a problem. Let's say it's making cupcakes. Great, fantastic. As soon as you open the business, you're no longer making cupcakes. You're managing inventory, suppliers, rent, legal contracts, marketing, pricing, staffing, taxes. The list goes on and on and on. The typical entrepreneur, when they're faced with all these things that they don't know how to do, well, they give up on family, they give up on friends, they withdraw from faith, and they give up on fitness. And I am describing a person descending into isolation. And it's in that moment of isolation that we lose our soul. We lose our identity as children of God. We forget we're called to manifest our gifts in His glory, and we just try to get this business to survive. Ocean attacks that problem. We've created curriculum that's 50% business, 50% biblical principles, and you can't go to a program and cherry pick between them. And we do everything in community, always connecting people with other entrepreneurs, mentors, and advisors.
That's great. I love that. So How does Ocean instill Christian values to non-Christian entrepreneurs?
It's a great question. And an important point is Ocean is open to people of any faith. We believe we're to be the open door to the church, to Christ, so we want people to come in. 2 days ago, I led a digital session on Person of Peace, and half the people participating do not share my faith. That's great. But I begin by reading Luke 10, where Christ sent out the people, and he sent them out with a specific mission, but he gave them very specific training on how they should approach strangers, how they should react and interact when they're in a new town, and what to do if you're not received. In essence, if I secularize that, it's absolutely fantastic customer or sales management training. And once I take the biblical principle into the secular and then walk it back into the biblical principles, people's minds just blow, and they start to understand how Christian principles can be applied in their personal life and in their startup. It's a pretty powerful approach that we've gotten a lot of praise from people who don't share our faith.
Wow, I really appreciate that model. So now shifting to really these uncertain economic times that we're living in light of COVID and the many changes that we're faced with on a daily basis now, what programs like Ocean need from churches to thrive and serve entrepreneurs in the most effective way possible?
Jen, one of the blessings in my life is that most of my career was outside the United States. And I started multiple businesses in both second and third world markets. And I've been able to continue to travel to a lot of them in my role at Ocean. So if I compare right now our economy to a third world economy, in a third world economy, your only option is going to be to become an entrepreneur. There just aren't lots of jobs. And we're going to go through a period of time again in the United States where many people are going to have to become entrepreneurial to get food on the table. They are going to turn to whoever can help them in that journey. If a church can provide digital training from a program like Ocean that will serve people seeking to find a way to be an entrepreneur, and particularly at the lowest point in their life, which is exactly when Christ shows up. So here we could provide or present to people training and support at the moment they need it. So what churches can do to serve the entrepreneur is to step up and provide training in multiple forms, in all different ways, that will help people sort out, is that my path? Once you connect with entrepreneurs as a church, as a local church, the academic research shows us entrepreneurs who have faith will always seek out a faith home that supports entrepreneurship. So you will gain highly activated, very loyal, and committed members. And that's been our experience here locally as well.
I love what you said about providing training at the moment that they need it. And I think now more than ever is a time where people need to be engaged and activated in that entrepreneurial training and the entrepreneurial mindset. I think that's incredible. So last question, Scott, we've only got a few minutes left. Knowing what you know now about your entrepreneurial journey and the journeys of many of the alumni through Ocean, what do you wish the church had provided them as teenagers or even young adults to best prepare them for a faith-driven journey?
So the funnel for our young people needs to be very wide. And we need to rethink the lessons we provide them. Many of the skill sets we provide to entrepreneurs that come out of things like lean design, these are thinking and planning and leadership skills that can be applied no matter what you're doing, in your personal life, as a husband, as a wife, as a pastor, as a church planter, as an employee. So we should cast a wide net and make available to as many people as possible these design tools that are coming out of the entrepreneurial landscape. Some portion of the young people who get exposed to that may begin to think, that's my calling. That's what I should do. And then we need to have pathways to show them it's okay to pursue that, and also show them how challenging of a path that is. So I just hope that we begin to see what all the good and entrepreneurial skill sets and cast that net wide, because it will draw young people in and they'll self-select if this is their career or just a skill set.
Thank you, Scott. I really appreciate that holistic approach to entrepreneurship and providing, like you said, pathways for young adults and teenagers to discover really their own path and their own journey. So very much appreciated. That's really all the time we have today. Scott, thank you so much for participating in this short conversation, but we're looking forward to connecting with you and many others during the upcoming Faith and Entrepreneurship Roundtable. We will see you then. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you, Jen, and bless everyone at One Hope.